Now, party loyalty may play a big role in next month's general election. That's the finding from a new study by TNS. Now, Iman is going to explore that issue with brand expert Thebe Ikalafeng, the man with the brightest shirt ever to visit Newsnight.
I think the only person that rivals you is the statistician, Paddy Lahortla, with his yellow suit, and he loves it anyway.
He obviously has good taste.
Well, thanks for coming in. Great to have you. I mean, you're no stranger to this particular subject because you run elections in other countries. But I think this is an important statistic. So 71% of the people polled, and I think the TNS covered around 2,000 people, that party loyalty will play a key decision in a key role in their voting decisions. Are you surprised, given the political context and the criticism of parties?
I'm not surprised at all that that party loyalty plays such an important role. Because remember, we've only been around for 20 years, and for the 80 years before that, the struggle was always coalesced around the racial identity, if you will, over and above the bigger issues. So I'm not surprised. And if you look at all the studies around elections in Africa, in particular, loyalty will be among the leading factors that influences, as well as age.
What is loyalty driven by? Because, you know, one gets a sense from the service delivery protests and the criticisms and the corruption that people perhaps in some ways will be more strategic. And we'll get to a stat later on which talks about people who will vote according, you know, to their heads and not their hearts. What does it say, though, about, you know, all of these campaigns? Perhaps they're unnecessary because people are still going to vote the way they always have.
Oh, you still have to show that you are still relevant to their needs. But what loyalty really speaks to, it speaks to the idea that people are loyal first and foremost to the party that brought them to their current status, to the country's way of being, if you will. But what it means that in the midst of also, if you will, midst of service delivery issues, the midst of strikes and all those are important. But the most important thing is, do I have trust in this party? Because trust is the key driver in there.
It also raises then a question of political maturity. I mean, this year we're going to see for the first time the born-frees who have no institutional memory of apartheid voting. And then you have, you know, the stalwart families, for example, who perhaps traditionally have always voted in one particular way. Where does the aspect of maturity fit in there? Are we politically mature?
We are becoming mature with time. And as I said, loyalty is one, age is another important one, because the older people will typically vote for the historical parties, and the younger people will vote according to issues. You know, if you go to various countries, you go to a country like Ghana, which has been around which got their independence 60 years ago. The voting there is typically around the issues and the person who is leading the campaign.
At what point did they reach that, where it became about the issues rather than, you know, how the family has voted?
I think over time, when they assessed the delivery of the various parties, as the parties themselves were maturing in terms of how they connect and deliver to the people, then people themselves become mature and they transcend the racial paradigm as well as the loyalty paradigm.
What do you say about this? I mean, part of the study finds out that as the education levels of the respondents rises, access to information and a broader look at the political factors, they start to look at other things of importance. And
the important thing they start to look at is, what is this party doing for my way of life, for my quality of life? They start looking at the issues that are important to them. They start looking at which party is going to help protect my status, protect my wealth.
I think startlingly, with all the hubris around Jacob Zuma and the Nkandla report, the study also asked the question about whether they thought the president was doing a good job, and it showed that his popularity dropped from 43%, this was August 2013, to 34% in February. But now, how does that sit with the fact that for those polled who are loyal to the ANC, it shows that it doesn't matter who's at the head?
It really doesn't matter who's at the head. The other third key determinant of loyalty or voting patterns in Africa as well is where people live. So the rural people will tend to vote according to historical line. And now if you look at South Africa, the majority of the people, or probably a good enough number of people who vote for the ANC, will come from those rural areas. And they will be loyal to the African National Congress for an important reason, because 16 million of them are on grants.
It's fascinating stuff. Just one quick takeaway. I mean, for political parties that are looking at this thinking, how can we redirect and really kind of zone in on a particular demographic? Is there useful stuff in this that they can extrapolate for their election campaigns?
There's very useful stuff. I think if you learn from the United States of America, segmentation is quite important. So they're going to have multi-level strategies to speak to different segments. So you no longer can have, perhaps like in 1994, a blanket strategy that just says a better life for all.
Yeah.
It's no longer a better life for all. It's different things for different people.
Thebe Ikalafeng, Jeremy and I are keeping your number in our back pockets for when we launch our very own political party. Brand expert Thebe Ikalafeng.
Thank you so much.